Greetings. Welcome back to this edition of Pan-African Digest. As usual, I begin by saying a big thank you to our supporters, our subscribers, and those who have been supporting us. I say a big thank you. Please keep on doing your your best to help us to promote this channel. Do try to press the link, the like, and then try to subscribe if you haven't done so. I appreciate you all. Thank you very much. And today, I'm going to discuss what I would call the peril of being a public educator or a podcaster in Africa. I do my best not to write or speak on things that I do not know. No, it's just a waste of my time to open my mouth when I have nothing to say. Unfortunately, for many of us in Africa, the most ignorant among us are the loudest. It is unfortunate, but people who are not educated, who are not well educated, they have opinions on almost everything under the sun, even above the sun. They know everything. And when you challenge them, what do? They resort to insults. Instead of presenting arguments with which you can have a conversation or discussion or whatever, they go back to their repertoire, great repertoire of insults. They reduce everything to emotional outbursts. I used to belong on some platforms, African platforms. Most of it I've removed myself because the level of discussion, the level of what they call, not even debates, but normal discussion, is so juvenile, so puerile that I consider them a bloody waste of my time. Why do people with no education, with little education, why do they develop such big mouths? That's unfortunate. That's what we have in Africa. People hardly read, but they generate far from every part of their body and present them to you, and they want you to consider them with esteem. No. And you start a discussion, before you know it, they've moved. You end up not knowing from where did this one come. Was this what we were talking about? No. They flew tangent all over the place. The only thing, they just confuse you. A few days ago, there was a discussion about what I think of President Tinubu of Nigeria, what he was doing. And I said, I don't know much about his internal policies, but his external policies are so anti-African and so pro-imperialist that I find them distasteful. And because of my distaste for this man's so profoundly pro-Western foreign policy and anti-African policies, I think I've written about 10 articles against Tinubu's foreign policies. I don't know whether he read I doubt if he read my post, but one of my posts was to call for this sacking of his foreign minister. And fortunately, a few weeks ago, the foreign minister of Nigeria was sacked. He was given they claim he resigned, which is good news. For those of us who are old enough, we remember when Nigeria used to represent Africa. Nigeria was synonymous with Africa. Nigeria was the natural leader of Africa. To watch a Nigerian president become so pathetically pro-Western to the extent of destroying ECOWAS was too much for me. That's why I wrote several articles to denounce Tinubu. I don't know what the imperialists had on him. I don't know what files they keep on him. but is doing great disservice to Nigeria in the foreign policy sphere. That was my submission. Then, as on his policies, economic policy back home, of course, I read a lot about Nigeria. A lot of them are groaning, they're crying about. Not to be facetious, we have always been a great complainer in Nigeria. But what I wrote that caught the anger of one guy was, I said, if Tinubu is being honest with his programs of building the infrastructure for Nigeria, it would be a great thing. I told him that I'm not a trained economist. What I do is to read widely and consult the best sources I can get on economics, on any subject in which I'm interested. To me, one of the best economists, especially for development economics, third world countries economics, is the South Korean professor An Jung Sang. I mean, it's not only is very, very brilliant, and he writes with such panache that you can easily understand whatever subject he's discussing with you. Half is one, another one, and another one here. So, what I do is I consult experts like this. Professor An Jung Sang told us the story of how South Korea developed in his books. And from what I see Tinubu doing, building infrastructure, Nigeria will be on a trajectory to greatness if he can succeed. If he doesn't cripple himself with corruption and the corrupt allegations have been leveled against him left and right. If he doesn't allow that to cripple his ambition, Nigeria will be successful. I wrote about this, and I argue that no country can make progress without good infrastructure. The infrastructures that Nigeria enjoys today were built in 1970s. The International Airport, Muritala Mohammed Airport, the best known airport in Nigeria, was built in the 1980s, 1970s, 1980s. The highway Lagos to Ibadan, the most traveled road in Nigeria, was also about the same period. It was built by the military, to be frank. So, how do we run a modern nation in 2026 with 1976 infrastructure? Those are questions Nigerians should be asking themselves. And that is what I try to bring up as a discussion on this platform. And before you know it, there were really many people. I'm pro Tinubu because I'm Yoruba and blah blah. Before you know, they've reduced everything to ethnicity and tribalism. I said, oh gosh, I took my time, but I'm glad to announce that I left because I just don't know how to reduce discussion to such pathetic levels. And one of my greatest my mentor in literature, Mark Twain, wrote something which I find very funny and I took it I kept it as my guide. Do not argue with idiots. They will they will drag you to their level. They will drag you into the mud and beat you with your experience. That is a nice quotation from Mark Twain. He's one of the greatest satirists you can find around. So what I try to do is I walk away. What have I got to lose? But what do I need to reduce myself to the level of banding insult with people? I don't do that. What we try to do, some of us, is to educate our people. Because we believe we have acquired a lot of knowledge, and then we should try to impart it to our people. The lack of knowledge is what is crippling us in Africa. We're not interested in getting knowledge. We're not interested not only in our history, but acquiring knowledge seems to be such an encumbrance to many of us. We find it difficult to do basic research, find things out. Why? So we can develop, and not only then we can develop the critical ability to analyze things on their own merits without resorting to insult, without resorting to tribalism or religious, without bringing sentiment into purely academic discussions. That is my message for today. And as usual, let me say thank you again to all of you who have been supporting us in your own way. Please press the like button and help us to subscribe to our podcast and our channels on YouTube and TikTok. Until next time, thank you very much. Ireo.